Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Ram 1.2 pre-release. This is the second build they released, I believe. This video, I'm not sure exactly when I'll publish it, so if I'm slightly out of date with this, if 1.2 has been released, I'm sorry about that. But in any case, today we're taking a look at the XV-89, which is a surprisingly good design that I just made. Not just made, but made recently. It's based on a hypothetical US Air Force supersonic VTOL bomber design from an alternate history made in 1968. 1968. Why did I call it the XV-89 then? I don't know where 89 came from, except that it was random numbers that felt appropriate, and then X experimental V VTOL, perhaps. That is what I was going for. Of course, it is not actually a VTOL. As you can see here, we have no way of generating vertical thrust, but it does follow the same general design as that craft, as that design, and I just figured I would make something similar, and this is what I made. And I'm just looking at the authority limits, which I have all at the defaults because I made this before I realized I could adjust those, which is kind of silly of me, but in any case, it's a pretty fun little thing to fly. Doesn't have a lot of fuel, however, its single Panther engine provides more than enough thrust for it to get going extremely fast, and with the large wing surface, lots of wings, it is extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? It can glide at an extremely low speed. It's also very maneuverable. As you can see right here, I'm demonstrating that maneuverability by doing a couple loop-de-loops and barrel rolls around the KSC. As you can see, it's very controllable, very maneuverable. The roll rate isn't the best, but it's alright overall. As you can see, I got some random stuff just littered around, and yeah, I've just been playing around in the sandbox, in this sandbox save in 1.2, designing things, flying them around, accidentally crashing at high velocity. I don't know what this is the remains of, but let's pretend that didn't happen. But yeah, that's oh yes, let's show it at high speed. I was about to say, that's done, that's it, that's pretty much all there is to it. But actually, I do want to show that this thing, well, for one thing, the landing gear are placed really far back, which normally is a bad thing in your design, but this thing has such a good ability to get up and go very fast, even though it has a landing gear that far back, that I actually really like it that way. Anyhow, it also would be kind of difficult to get the landing gear to look good and be seated farther forward because stock landing gears suck like that. In any case, the main thing that I was going to show, that I'm showing now that I kind of forgot about, was this thing can go really, really fast on just the single Panther engine. And so you can see we're getting up to, well, we're not quite there yet, but we're going to be getting up to 400 meters per second pretty soon here while we're at a fairly low altitude. And this thing will continue to accelerate up to 700 or 800 meters per second. I'm not actually sure what its top speed is because the last time I did this, I did the exact same thing I'm doing now, which is aiming towards the mountains, and I had to stop speeding up as much because I had to pull up to avoid hitting the mountains. As you can see, we've already gone, what is this? We've gone 20 kilometers from the KSC in less than a minute, and that's including takeoff time. So you can see this thing can get going very, very fast. And now we're at 600 meters per second and continuing to accelerate. Of course, last time I did this, I was at 500 meters instead of 1,400 meters almost. But the case still stands that this thing can go very, very fast. In fact, that's why it has an air brake here, although the air brake isn't very effective, I don't think, basically because it went too fast. Also, you might have noticed there is a fuel line here. So basically, I made this using the part clipping cheat, which is under cheats, and you'll see that I'm going to have to pull up now to avoid hitting the mountain. Right here, part clipping and editors. I enabled that in order to add this piece here, the tail connector. Essentially what I did was I built the cockpit, put a little bit on the front, put this piece on there, then part attached, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. I just node attached. I node attached this tail connector onto the back there, and then used the tweakable, whatever they're called, the editor thingies that let you rotate things, and rotated it around and then moved it back so that it kind of lined in this way, lined up that way, so it has this nice smooth look to it. And then I activated the cheat so that I could then attach this engine nacelle, which you might have noticed that's actually our only intake on the whole thing, is this engine nacelle, since engine nacelles are technically intakes. Oh, and they hold fuel. I forgot about that. So yeah, our fuel storage is in the front here, this bit here, these NCS adapters, and this engine nacelle. And the engine nacelle is our intake. So it's a very, very smooth look. and it works quite well, and it gave me a little spot to put the air brake in, which I put in because it goes way too fast, and I realized you can't actually slow down all that well in this thing other than by doing maneuvers. Of course, maneuvers are pretty good for slowing down, but it's nice to also have an air brake. As you can see, we can pull an extreme high G sustained maneuver. Obviously, if you enable the new G effects on Kerbals, that will probably lead to some bad things happening. I'll take a look in a moment here. What did we pull? We pulled 33.5 Gs doing that turn just now. So obviously very, very high amount of Gs. Very, very tight turn. And as you can see, we kept up a lot of speed doing that turn. Like we lost, we went from like 700 to 150 or something. But the thing is, we remained above 120 or above 100. And some designs, they can't really pull a turn like that and remain at least some speed. Obviously, it still would be a disadvantage in combat to lose that much speed in a turn, but this thing's not really meant for combat anyhow. Although I imagine if you put some BD Armory stuff on it, it would work quite well. I don't know if someone's made a build for BD Armory for 1.2 pre-releases yet or not, though. Essentially, Bahamuto has pretty much stepped away from development for the time being. He's been busy with other things in real life and that sort of stuff. And I know a couple other people have stepped in to take his place. In any case, going back to this, because I did the part clipping, it meant that you couldn't actually get fuel from these first two NCS adapters because just the logic of KSP. However it works when you enable part clipping. It made it so that the fuel flow wouldn't work, so I had to change that. Does this... I forget if this lets you... No, I can't show you that while I am flying it, but I'll, after I pull down here real fast, I will go back to the SPH and show you that. I forget what I crashed right here, but it was a pretty cool little crash landing. Like, I honestly was not expecting... I think it was an F-104 that I flew and I landed on the side of the mountain there, which obviously shouldn't even be possible, but, yeah. Speaking of things that shouldn't be possible, so this thing has an extremely low speed that it can still fly at, and I'm going to attempt to demonstrate this right now by landing on top of the mountain. Yeah, so you can see I'm still in control fairly well, and you can see I've now landed on the ground. In fact, I've landed completely intact without damaging the vessel at all. Wait. There we go, and now I've... Oop, nope, I haven't quite balanced it back on its landing gear. There you go. I've now balanced it on its landing gear as well, so you can see that it works quite well up here. What's a good shot for this? I think like this. Yes. That's a beautiful shot. There we go. I'm going to leave that there. I'm actually going to go ahead and clean up this crashed GI-16 here, and this Griffin. Oh, it was a Griffin that I had crashed there, that little one pilot seat, as well as, oh yes, I crashed the Falcon over there next to the GI-43 business class, which is a little plane that I made a long time ago. Oh yes, I also apparently crashed an FA-18 Super Hornet over there. And yep, it was an F-104S Starfighter. And I crashed a Super Hornet over there as well. But in any case, that one last little thing I wanted to show you was how the fuel overlay looks. And so you can see here that the fuel goes through this little fuel thing here. Excuse me, fuel line here. If I took that off, you'd see that the front is no longer connected at all. So, yep, that was necessary to hook everything up properly. In any case, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in space.